ignore the fact that I don't have a bed frame right now. I just got a new bed, but that's besides the freaking point. The reason I came on here, what an intro. The reason I came on here is because, well, hey guys, first of all. So, I just want to come on here, talk a little bit about mental health. I think it's an important topic, to be honest with you. And it's iconic reference. And I think it's something we don't really, it's more, obviously more accepted now, but it's still a little taboo. A little taboo, I would say. But yeah, I've been working a lot on my mental. I've been working a lot on myself in terms of depression, anxiety, things that have plagued me my entire life, and pretty much my entire life. And trigger warning, I feel like I've come close to doing things that I probably would have regretted, looking back on it. Just not suicide attempts, but ideation, And I think a lot of people have it more than they care to admit. Want to pretend like everything's fine, life's great all the time, or that they have never had these thoughts before. And there's the, again, taboo. That's the word of the day, taboo. Because there's a lot of things that are still taboo, like to even talk about, not just mental health, but so many things, relationships, relationship dynamics, social issues going on in the world, and being honest about them. And yeah, it's just a lot of things aren't accepted, and I think people are finally opening their last few brain cells for the conversation, for, the short time that we're here on Earth. But low-key, it do be feeling like that sometimes. It does feel like life is short sometimes. And, like, looking back to last year, it's like, whoa. It was, like, long, but it wasn't. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a weird time paradox where, like, I feel like life is just dragging on. Then at the same time, we look back, we're like, didn't that just happen? Yeah, you know what I mean? So, I've been dealing with anxiety and depression, as many do, and more than a lot of people care to admit that they're dealing with, because they don't want to admit that they're struggling. I think that's the thing about our culture, is that we don't want to admit that we're struggling. Like, there's something wrong about that. And I think part of it's like, we don't have a village anymore to, like, support each other. And there's, like, this unsaid anxiety when it comes to, like, I don't know, people that aren't in our village, We feel like if we admit we're struggling, we're going to be looked down upon or shunned, or almost maybe taken advantage of, exploited. Because there are people like that will do that to vulnerable people, but there are also a lot of good people and a lot of people that will support you, but you just have to look for them, because unfortunately they're not, like, hanging around, everywhere you look, but they are in a lot of places. So you just have to keep, like, your mind and your heart open, even though I know it's hard, because a lot of us have trauma, okay? So it's understandable, we don't trust people as easily, and we kind of have to, like, get over that in a way, because if we know that we ourselves are capable of being good people, how is it that the 7 billion other people in the world, there aren't at least going to be a good amount that are good people as well, So that's my thoughts lately. That's like a change in perspective for me, because like I was very isolated for a long time because of my depression, because the anxiety of being out in public and being afraid someone will take advantage of my vulnerable state, because it had happened before. And it was just a matter of like getting, not over it, but like working through it, and I still am, and I'm still allowing myself to like feel anxiety, recognize it when I'm in a situation where like I'm around a new person, And I'm like, why do I feel anxious around this person? Why do I care about how they'll perceive me? Oh, because I'm trying to avoid being taken advantage of or like looked down on or something like that. So that's social anxiety. That's everyone has it to some extent. But again, not a lot of people care to admit it, so you don't like hear a shit ton about it, But it's definitely everywhere. Like, I mean, humans need social anxiety, evolutionarily, another new word, keyword for the day. Evolutionarily, it served us, We had to have our guard up around people that we don't know, that aren't part of the village, that we were born into, because they could possibly be a danger. But in society, just walking outside is possibly, your body will possibly be triggered into feeling like, okay, I'm in danger. The anxiety starts flaring up. And any new person, there's at least a small bit of it, because it's like you're testing them, like you want to make sure they're not gonna, be a danger, quote unquote, a danger nowadays would be considered just someone who, danger back in the day would be considered someone who would maybe kill you and take your resources. Now it's a person who will take advantage of you in your emotions, or give you the wrong impression or the right impression, and then end up betraying you later. Like that applies to friendships, relationships, and there's a lot of emotional context behind like anxiety now. Like, people are just afraid to share their emotions because a lot of people get fucked over. So again, trauma. But thankfully there's a way to move past it, I think. Not move past it maybe completely, but for the most part, I think so. And I didn't have this perspective not even that long ago. Like, I was so pessimistic and about the world, about people, because as an empath, you feel like, you feel like the most sensitive and most empathetic person in the room, and you don't even feel like that benefits you, like, in any way. Like, it's more of a curse than a blessing in most situations, unless you're like signing up for the damn Peace Corps or like volunteering and helping people. Of course, it's like a great asset to have, but like in everyday ordinary situations, people can see that as a weakness, and that's the tricky thing about wanting to be a good person, is that like you feel like you're being maybe tested a lot, and your patience is tested, and regardless of that, you feel like you have to do the right thing if you want to be in line with your own morals and your own moral code, so yeah. But back to what I was saying about anxiety and depression. I personally was dealing with that. I'm dealing with that, it never just fully goes away, but it's something that's dramatically decreased in me. I also have ADHD. So motivation is a huge thing I need to work on. Like, let me rephrase that. Not motivation, work ethic. Because work ethic doesn't require motivation. Like, you just do what you need to do, you get it done, regardless if motivation is there or not. And that's the thing, I've always relied on motivation to propel me forward, and if I don't have it, then I stay stuck. So it's like, most of the time I'm stuck. Most of the time I'm stagnant and like not doing what I need to do or what I want to do. Maybe what I need to do sometimes. I mean, I'm in school, you know, I have to do that, but like, I wasn't excelling, you know? This is like the first semester. Not the first semester, but I mean, I was invited into the National Honor Society. So, I mean, like, that's a good first step, because things are like finally like looking up, you know? Because I'm not just doing what I need to do, I'm going an extra step, you know, above that. So, not me with the hand on the knee, leaning in, giving you some gems of wisdom, words of wisdom, but they're gems of wisdom too. Yeah, so, I think I put in a little more effort this semester. I think if I even put a fraction of the, like, quote unquote, paralyzed potential, if I put a fraction of that into the things that I want to do and I need to do, then I'd be a lot better off. But, you know, that's something I have to work on. That's the next step in my evolution this year. Really working on my work ethic. And, yeah, I think, had a little moment there. I think that will really, like, set me up for, like, a really fulfilling life, obviously, but like feeling about myself, because I feel like for so long I have had that paralyzed potential, and it sucks to feel like you're not living up to it, you know. And I use the term paralyzed potential because I heard it from this video that just spoke to me like a few days ago. A guy, I think it's a podcast, I'll link the video below, and it just changed like my whole perspective, like, and it's hard, it's still like sinking in, you know, because it's a lot of information. It's like, whoa, this challenges my entire worldview, you know, like perfectionism, like the paralyzed potential, and the need to be perfect. There's so much connection there, and you want to like be perfect, but at the same time you're paralyzing yourself, so you don't end up like doing what you want, because your expectations are extremely like unrealistic. And there's a lot of religious undertones in the video. There's a lot of God talk and verses. If you're not religious, you know, just letting you know. But like the overall message is really great, and I would encourage people to check that out, because if you feel like you've been dealing with, you know, that specific issue of just not getting your shit together, not getting what you want, like not going after your passions, hobbies, things you've been wanting to try but never, you know, have. So yeah, that's some nuggets I want to throw out there, things, reflections, things I've been wanting to talk about a little bit. But if you have any thoughts, like, I'm so open to this. I think this is like the most freely I've spoken about things in a long time, because I feel like, what's the point in holding back anymore? Like, really, what is it? Like, I was just afraid that maybe it wouldn't be accepted. But again, if you watch the video on the paralyzed potential, it's like, what are you afraid of? Like, okay, that it won't be accepted, and so what? And what about it? You know, because at the end of the day, you tried it, or you said what you wanted to say. Use your voice, you know, like, really screw what anyone else thinks, you know. This is your truth. This is your method of expression, and that's completely valid, you know. And I'm sure at least some people resonate with it. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Damn, that was like super. That was like a whole thesis. That was like, wow, I did good. A lot of times I have to like fucking like, I'd be tripping up on my words. I have to cut it like so much, and then I end up not posting video at all. Or there's like, yeah, so many like silences in between. But let me be proud of myself right now, because this is pretty good. And I encourage y'all to be proud of yourself for whatever you've been achieving, even the smallest fucking thing. You know, I would say be content with that, but also don't stop there, you know. And yeah. So if you want me to talk about anything else mental health related, I definitely will, and I probably will regardless of if anyone suggests it or has any ideas. But you can definitely let me know, and I'll for sure do it. I'll for sure. But yeah, have a great day, guys, and thank you so much for watching.